Perfect. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. So I can see some people kind of join in. A few familiar faces there. I'll give everyone a couple of minutes. We are recording this as well, so if afterwards you want to get a copy of the webinar, then that will be there. So let's get started then. And yeah. Really excited to be joined by Tom from Adfin and Lara, the amazing Lara. We've just been talking about Lara's golfing prowess, and I think there's a series there from Lara around how golf can apply to business. So, Tom, Lara, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Interesting fact as well, maybe. Tom, do you want to go first?
Oh, put me on the spot. Yeah, hi guys. A few familiar faces here. Lots of people joining. Tom, co-founder of Adfin. Known Johnny now for what is it, a year and a half probably,
Yeah.
since early on. Yeah, very pleased to say that we are very deeply integrated with Socket. Keen to talk about that today. Fun fact about me: I once one of my body parts was once in a Harry Potter film.
Tom,
Leave that. Leave the rest to you.
I'm sure there's people, I'm sure there's people that are going to rewatch the entire series. So, yeah,
You wouldn't know it was me is the other thing, but one of my body parts have made it into a Harry
Laura seems quite excited by that.
Potter.
Put that up, can I? Exciting fact now. So I run LJM Bookkeeping and Ace Excel. I'm an ICB certified bookkeeper and been in practice almost 15 years. Love software, chair the ICB's tech board and various other things. And yeah, sports mad. Not just the golf. Love a bit of cricket. I will happily sit through a 5-day test match, and also a massive rugby fan.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely kill some hours different times of the year then, Laura.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know me, I'm Jonathan Gaunt. I'm a co-founder of Socket, but I also run my own accounting practice. And so again, try and bring a lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis and that accounting practice into what we do in Socket, and kind of trying to make my world your world easier every day. So in terms of the agenda today, we're going to give you a bit of a background about Socket and Adfin. We're going to do a quick demo just to kind of bring it to life for everyone. And then we will kind of jump in and give you a demo. And I'm just going to share my screen as well. Go. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. So yeah, agenda, demo. We're going to chat with Lara as well, because Lara is a user of both Socket and Adfin. And I can also jump in there as well because I'm a user of both and absolutely loving them. And then we're going to talk about the roadmap, what's coming, and then questions and answers. But if you've got any questions as you go through, then kind of please shout and we'll try and answer them, particularly if they're relevant to what we're talking about. So let's dive in. And sorry, I've lost my mouse.
Come on, Johnny. You're supposed to be a software man.
Oh, there we go.
You can't be losing your mouse.
Okay, I've got my mouse back. There we go. So we've done the introductions, and yeah, why Socket and kind of Adfin came together. It's really that bit if we want to create one seamless kind of workflow. And I think what we're trying to do is how can we keep you in one tool as much as possible? So whilst you're using Adfin, as you go through it, you'll kind of see that actually for the important parts, you are staying in Socket. And that's really, really kind of important. And as Tom said, we're going to try and make that integration deeper and deeper. So we always, both Socket and Adfin, we want to hear about kind of what you'd like it to do. And Lara, you've kind of shaped both our roadmaps quite a bit as we've gone through. So in terms of,
I think it's
sorry.
important. Sorry, I was going to say, I think it's important. I'm always a big advocate for bookkeepers and accountants talking up about software, and I think and sort of saying what you want, and because if I want it, hopefully a bunch of other people want it, and I know both of you are very responsive to queries and requests, so that's always a great thing.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that even if it's little kind of gripes, like we don't know when we build something, we think we're building it and we think it's kind of done when we push it out. But until we get feedback, we don't really know. And it might even be little things like that's really slow when you push a particular button. We kind of test things in a slightly different environment to you, so we want to know, or can you change the name of a button because actually it's confusing? That is great kind of feedback. So yeah, keep those points of feedback coming. So in terms of who are Socket, so effectively what we've got is we start off right from the very beginning of you creating a pricing menu so you get that consistency. And in theory, it then doesn't matter who's doing the pricing, you're going to get the same answer. We've got a leads module so you can keep track of things. And again, that came about because we were seeing lots of people using other systems, but they weren't connected and things were falling through cracks. We can create the proposals, letters of engagement, and then we've got the workflow automation. And this is part of where we're then syncing in with kind of Adfin of how do we join it up. And then we've got the billing management. And then within that billing management, we've also got the collection that can be powered by Adfin. So that's us, that's Socket. So Tom, who are Adfin?
Who's Adfin? Yeah. So the very simple way I always describe Adfin to accountants and bookkeepers is I say we're here to make go cardless much, much, much better. I think we've already done the basics of that. Actually, I'd say we've cracked direct debit now, and we do far more than just that, right? So end-to-end payment collection. At the front, we have what we call capture, which is getting data into Adfin. You can get data into Adfin from platforms like Socket, Xero and QuickBooks and platforms like that. And we've built a software tool called Adfin Bridge, which can suck up data from any software tool and get it into Adfin. So sort of first part of Adfin is get the data in, make that really easy, automated, seamless. Second part of Adfin is the actual payments piece, right? So direct debits, but we also do cards, we do open banking, we do bank transfers, all the payments you might need to get paid. And we do not just payments, but we also have some really good chasing tools around that. So you can do your credit control in Adfin as well. I might talk a bit about that today. And then on the back end, the last piece of kind of the whole platform is that single dashboard where you can see and manage all your data in one place, right? So whether you are, getting invoices in from Socket, but every now and again sending out a payment link directly, or maybe you're, managing direct debits alongside card payments, alongside some bank transfers, having all of that in one platform, and then sort of getting all that data into whatever accounting software you use in a really seamless way is something people use this for a lot. And actually, given the audience on this call, we do work a lot with some of the larger firms who maybe have grown through acquisition and they've got, one practice over here using Xero, one practice over here using QuickBooks. They've got a bunch of, bought a really terrible old practice that's doing everything on paper and they just want to upload a bunch of PDFs into Adfin. You can upload handwritten invoices if you want, and then you can use Adfin to bring all that into one place, give you a single view of your payments and all money in. So that's us.
And I think like one of the bits I got really excited by, Tom, is that ability of different payment methods. So we've always been able to do direct debits and it's worked kind of seamlessly. But it was almost then we had friction of we were sending out bills for self-assessments and they were never getting paid. And they were never getting paid because the client had to go into their bank and do the details. Now with like Apple Pay, Google Pay, we are getting paid straight away. So it's tiny little things that then add up and make a massive difference to how we operate. So yeah, thank you.
Well, I think there's
Yeah,
no excuse there, is there? There's every method you could want. You've got open
Yeah.
banking, you've got direct debit, you've got card payments all in one place without having to think about it. And basically you send the invoice to the client and whatever method works for them at that time is the one that they can choose. So there's no excuse from a client's point of view of, oh well, my banking app wasn't working, or oh well, I wasn't sure that I wanted to set
yeah,
up a direct debit because it's only going to be sporadic or whatever it is. It's like you have no excuse not to pay me. These are all your options are right
yeah.
there. And it's
Yeah.
a one-click process for them. It's as easy as possible, which means we get paid a lot more seamlessly.
Yeah, and we're talking about actually changing our approach of almost that bit of one to FU in terms of if a client doesn't pay, well, we're going to say, can you go onto a direct debit? So 90% of them, 99% of them are. There's a few that have always got a bit of a reason. And so what we're basically saying is that if you don't pay and if it goes over 45 days 3 times, then actually we're saying that's the end of the relationship because there's
Yeah.
no excuses anymore. So yeah, it's changing the way we do things for the better.
And we're just
Great.
exactly that's kind of what we're obsessed with, which is like, why do people not just pay invoices instantly? Like this, that's our like fundamental question. What does it take just to make an invoice payment essentially immediate? And
Yeah,
there's a big piece of that, which is, as you say, Lara, just give people clear choice, right? Like nudge them a lot and give them the payment methods. That achieves quite a lot. It's amazing how much if you send the right person a WhatsApp with Apple Pay, they'll just do it because it's there, it's quick and easy. And so
yeah,
like that's sort of like part of the battle. But there's lots of other bits of the battle as well, right? Like sometimes people don't pay because they've got a legitimate dispute with your invoice. And actually, if we send them 15 different email reminders saying, "Oi, pay Lara," all we're actually doing is making them more and more annoyed, right? Like they're not going to pay because they don't like your goods and services. So you can send them as many emails as you like. So how do we open up like really good channels of communication so that there's a button right there? No, I dispute this. I want to talk to someone, because we might save 2 months of chasing then, and we could
yeah,
just work out what the actual issue is. In certain situations, maybe if the payer is really reliable and they're really good, maybe we can start to front those funds, right? And say, you know what, Johnny, like Lara, she's always good for it. She's absolutely good for it. Maybe something's gone wrong this month. We'll just give you the money now, right? And start to sort of almost front funds on people. So as we evolve Adfin, we want to turn it much more into the just get paid company, so that any business using us just knows, okay, I am most likely to get paid if I use Adfin. That's that. If we've achieved that, then we'll be very happy.
yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So, like, what have we partnered on? If we haven't answered it already.
Sorry, I'm struggling with the aftermath of a cold. I'm just swallowing some water. Why have we got it? Is this me or is this you, Johnny? This is me.
What's your thoughts? And I'll add to
What's my thoughts? Because Lara asked for it, and we normally do whatever Lara says. Isn't that right?
it. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
I think Lara, you were the first. No, you're the first. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that is part of the reason, right? Like we talked to a number of practices, and as we were talking to those practices, they were talking
Yeah.
to you, and they were saying, "This is great." If you talk to these Socket guys, so we talked to Socket, and we realised that we have very, very, very similar philosophies, right? We're both
Yeah.
small, agile, fast-growing teams that are trying to do the right thing in this space. So, always good to be partnered with people that you like. So that was sort of one big reason. But I guess the product reason for this, and the real reason ultimately, is it's just a much better experience for the accountant or the bookkeeper if instead of hopping between one platform here and one platform there, you can seamlessly integrate that data and you can run, your happy path, 90% of your business, you're in Socket. Don't need to worry about Adfin too much. We're just behind the scenes making it work. And then if you need to configure something or get a bit more detail or,
Yeah.
change the way something's working, then you hop into Adfin and use us.
Yeah. And I think it's that the reason I'm really excited is it's that bringing together of the speed of how we implement things. So like we're always, I know Ben and Cyprian have been on calls together and it's like, right, okay, let's do this. And then 5 minutes later, something's kind of been rolled out. Whereas as a consumer of software, I've been sat there frustrated going, I just want you to change something to make my life better. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, and we've only just started. So yeah, let's dive in then and do a bit of a demo. So I've created a scenario already, and I've chosen a Bonkers Balloons, which I thought was quite a good name. I want someone in the chat to go, they're one of my clients, but every time I keep picking kind of random names, and I want someone one day to kind of go, yeah, that's my client, because there's some great names out there, and I almost want to go back and start a business again just so I can name it. So I won't go through the setup because a lot of you will know how this kind of works. What we've got is we've got 3 different scenarios. So we've got basic compliance, giving you time back, and done for you. Within those, we've got a couple of extras. So these are kind of things that the client can self-select as we go through. And at the bottom, we've got a nice project here, because what we're going to do is we're going to set this client up on Adfin, and we're also going to do some credit control chasing. So that's why we need to put an estimate in there. So this is then really where it starts to kind of get interesting, and where we've got an Adfin specific element to it. So what we're saying here is, because this is a new client, what we've given you the option of is, do you want to create a new customer? So again, if this was a customer that was already in Adfin, you could click on that and you could connect it. And if it was already a customer in Xero and we hadn't done that connection, you can actually do it here. But we're going to assume that Bonkers Balloons is new on both of those fronts. So couple of exceptions on the letter of engagement. So I could fill that in before I send it, but we are going to send it live. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to get the link, and I am going to go into incognito mode. Can everyone see that? Perfect. Perfect. So this is what the client will then see. So Shelley would be able to log in. We've got a nice little brochure which tells us all about magic numbers, which is my business. And then we get to this point here where we've got a couple of kind of options. I'm trying to nudge her in the direction of this done for you. So we're able to dive in to that. We can select the overall proposal. We could hide things if we wanted to. And then this is quite an interesting one where we could say, do you want any of these extras? So we're doing payroll. What might be really nice is for me to select Telaroo in order to be able to do kind of bulk payments. And I know there's a couple of cash flow issues that I've got, so I am going to select that as well. So on this next page, what we're going to see then is we've got an overall summary. We've added the pricing in there for the bulk paying and the cash flow, and then we've got this button here. So if I try and progress, I can't because I've got to complete a mandate. So I'm going to click on that, and we are jumping straight into Adfin. So this is a connection where physically here we are in Adfin. So I'm going to put in my account details. No, I can't type that easy, quick. I am using the Stream Deck. Okay, so we've selected that, we've confirmed that, and then effectively then I can close that window. And what this will then enable me to do is, we've got the direct debit has been set up, we can pass to the next page, we've got the letter of engagement in there, and then I can then sign it. Was it King Harold or put an X on something? And that's done. So from that perspective then, everything that we need to see for this proposal is done. If we come into this, then we can see that that's been marked as one there. I am just going to run that. And so what we can then do is from here we can confirm a start date. So we're going to bring it back into October so we can see that billing, and sorry, I'm just doing a couple of syncs in the background.
While you do that, Johnny, I was going to say that the benefit is as well that kind of, from my perspective, it kicks off the relationship on the right foot for the client.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy. It makes it, you understand what's expected of them. They don't, Tom, you were saying about making it easier for us in practice. Well, for the client, they don't have to click anything else. They're not, you don't have to send another email with another mandate with all that thing. It's like, this is your setup, is really simple, which then sets a really good, hopefully a good experience for them. That's like, okay, we're going to work with Lara. This is what we expect. Especially for me, talking about being software savvy, and that's part of my selling point, is like, well, look how easy it is for you to have this proposal. You've got the different options, you've got the extras, you've got everything that you could want on there. I'm not having to do that whole back and forth. And then when they're ready to go ahead, they tick what they want, and that puts them straight into that. There's not another pop-up. There's a pop-up, but there's not something else they have to log into or somewhere else they have to go. It's making it as easy as possible for them to sign up, which, as I say, hopefully then kicks off that whole relationship on the right foot, because they're then hopefully thinking, oh, well, if Lara does this for her own practice, what can she do for me and my business?
Yeah, and we can see that this is then come straight through to this billing plan. We can see that Bonkers Balloons is in there. We can see who the zero contact is, and then we can also see the branding theme. And that's literally then how everything will kind of work. And so what we would do is we will then push this invoice. So if I posted the draft there, that would then physically push those invoices into Zero, and then Adfin will pick those up and then send them out. So the added benefit of also using Adfin is that when Adfin sends the note out to a client, it will also attach the PDF. So that means that we can put in the Dext, the Apron email address, and that's like simplifying a step for us. So that's it. It's kind of really, really seamless for us, and yeah, it works incredibly well. So that's the bits that I wanted to kind of cover from a demo perspective. Is there anything you want to share on that, kind of, Tom, or pick out specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I could show what it would look like on the admin side, maybe.
Okay, so let me stop sharing then, and then
If I can
screen over to
share.
you.
So I think, as Johnny said there, the most important point I'd say is, our goal here is that your happy path, most of your firm, they're just working away in Socket. And as Lara says, keeping that all super streamlined in that interface. But of course, there's other things. There's always, times you might need to also log into admin. So it's just worth knowing what it looks like on our side. So this is effectively the admin account that's being linked to that Socket account. You'll see in this customer list, these customers will have all been synced from that Socket account. So with any luck, what was it called again? Bonkers.
Bonkers.
There it is. So Bonkers Balloons is pulled through. You can see here, direct debit mandate's already been signed. If I click into this customer and scroll down, I'll see, there we go, on the 30th of October, David Archer signed that mandate, and you've got that in place. So that sync is kind of all there. You can see that's the linked account in Zero, so the Socket, Zero, and Adfin have all been kept in sync and will be continuously kept in sync. And as Johnny said, if you then raise invoice, that would flow through. There's nothing yet, but you can see that here. One just quick sort of concept on Adfin to make sure everyone understands. We send things out according to what we call workflows. A workflow is just a sequence of steps. You set your default workflows up in settings. You can change them for different customers or groups of customers or invoices. So you know, quite commonly we'll see that people might decide this group of customers are all, you know, direct debit, very good payers, and they'll have one workflow. This group of customers have refused to pay on direct debit for some silly reason. Sometimes people do, or maybe they can't pay on direct debit if they're larger organizations. And if they, you know, can't pay on direct debit, then send them on this workflow instead. And in Adfin, we use the terms auto collect to refer to all things direct debit, and on demand to refer to basically everything else. On demand means something, somebody has to do something, right? They have to make a bank transfer or make an Apple Pay or make a. You can also in Adfin configure, and I can't click on the button because there's silly annotate buttons in the way. Oh no, go away. Oh, I hate Zoom so much. How do I can't click. This silly this Zoom has put a button on top of our bottom left of the screen. No, I have to beat. No, every time I move it. Oh my god! How do you move the annotate button? Ah, there we go. Right, so you can also in the settings here configure payment limits. And again, you can change these for customers and groups of customers, but this is another very commonly requested feature that we have from people who will say, hey, I love the idea that I can use Socket with Adfin and collect on direct debit. But, you know, what if I want to take a payment for £10,000? I don't want that on direct debit because, you know, I don't know, too risky or it's going to cost too much. I want them to make a bank transfer. So you can always tweak that here and change your payment limits as well. But yeah, that's kind of it. There's a few more Adfin things to show you later, possibly. But really, it's as simple as that. Your customers sync. Any invoices that come through will also sync. They'll be sent out on those workflows. Payment will be collected. And when the payment is made, Xero and Socket will both be automatically updated.
And on those workflows, Tom, that's where you can almost say direct debit. If direct debit fails more than so many times, try card, try WhatsApp. So again, you've got that complete flexibility of it's almost how creative can you be around getting this to work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And if all sorry.
And I would say the other side of that, if you know you've got a client on direct debit, don't send them a reminder 7 days before the invoice is due because it's going to automatically get collected. So you don't need to have, you can really tailor those experiences to how the client is paid so that you've got that good relationship. A bit like you were saying, Tom, don't chase something that you know is in dispute. Well, a client doesn't need 4 reminders if it's on direct debit. You're just going to they're just going to think of it as spam. So again, you can tweak and tailor them to what you like doing and what you know. And also, if you know that a client needs a reminder 48 hours before to actually pay, you can, as you say, you can have a bespoke workflow for that client to say, right, okay, we're going to actually send that reminder out.
Yeah, no,
exactly. And you've got, I mean, this little bit of Adfin's about to get a nice facelift to make it a bit nicer, but you know, functionality wise, you've got a lot of control here, right? Like how often do you chase for a mandate? Well, in the Socket integration, that's irrelevant because they can't proceed with the proposal until they've signed the mandate. So that bit's a little bit less relevant. But you know, you have got other options. So auto collect is an option we have. Auto collect plus will allow you to send out a card payment link if someone hasn't signed their direct debit mandate for some reason. You can choose whether you want your invoice to be attached every time it's raised. You can select how many times the direct debit is retried. If the direct debit fails, you can then ask for an on-demand. So we're sort of combining card and direct debit payments in lots of ways just to make sure you're most likely to get paid, essentially.
And on that, Tom, I know a competitor of yours is now charging for retries. So yeah, another little bonus in
yeah, they have been for a while
of Adfin. So yeah,
I've been for a while.
Perfect. So Lara, why have you gone with Socket and Adfin then?
Well, so I've used proposal software for quite a while because I am not great at pricing people, honestly, and I don't like this. I'm great at the sales bit, and then when I actually get to I'm too keen to discount and add things in. So I moved proposal software to like take that out of my hands. The computer says this is what it is. I wasn't thinking about the rest of it. And the software I was using wasn't working for me anymore. I had to do a lot of workarounds around it, around specific things, because I do some quite bespoke things. And I also do kind of very detailed because I'm doing the bookkeeping, very detailed proposals. I was finding that each time I wanted to add something in, I had to go and tweak the whole like price list, which wasn't working anymore. So I was looking for that alternative of something where I could do the project-based stuff. I could add in bits as ad hoc as I needed. I could do quoting, as you've just shown, on an estimate, as well as without having to actually every single time tweak the whole price list. If the client wanted something bespoke, I had a client that was like, how much would it cost for you to come down to Cornwall and do 3 days zero training? How many clients am I going to have on that I need to have that in my price list, versus just being able to like, this is what your $5,500 or whatever it was goes into this on. So and then, as I say, I've known you for quite a while, Johnny, now, and different things, and I've used we've been in circles, and it's that whole, again, the responsiveness, the being able to have this roadmap. And I know all of you kind of have this roadmap and then mapping these ideas, and it was like, actually, I was struggling with my previous provider to say if something went wrong, it was almost like, well, that's your fault. That's not our fault. That's your fault.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't working. I was having to spend so much time just tweaking a proposal. And it was just like, the whole point of proposal systems to me is to have everything uniform and easy to do. Otherwise, why don't I just type it in all into an Excel sheet or a Word doc and send that across, kind of thing, if you know what I mean? So it was, how do we make this easier? And then again, I'd been using direct debits for a while, but I had issues when the Xero integration with that had changed, and I found them a lot less flexible with the other provider. And been talking to Tom and the guys for over a year now, and looking at having that ability, as we've just said, about all those different payment methods, not having to have 3 or 4 different options for different payment methods, being able to just say, right, okay, everything goes through Adfin. And for me, because I'm doing mostly B2B, obviously, and I don't do a lot of self-assessments, or don't do any self-assessments, there's no real reason why clients shouldn't be on direct debit. I do have one, because apparently he's with some weird bank that doesn't allow direct debits. But for me, there's no reason why that workflow shouldn't be, these are the boundaries and the expectations of how you work with me and LJM, and this is what I want this to look like, and making that as easy as possible from their perspective as well. You don't have to think about it, you can just pay on direct debit. And from my perspective, I'm not using lots of different pieces of software to do it all, because you're integrated. And I think I love software and I love things that have everything in one place, but the most important thing to me is using the best tool for each area. And so it's perfect if those tools talk to one another, because actually I want to be using Socket despite the fact I've got potentially proposals in my practice management, and I want to be using Adfin. But so with you connecting up to those together, it's I can get the base of both worlds. I get the really great systems without having to do the extra work internally.
Cool. Awesome. And if we look forward, and if you can wave a magic wand, what are some of the features that you would like to see in Socket or in Adfin, or kind of bringing them together?
Well, I think every time I log in, I've got a new feature in Socket at the moment. I sent a proposal the other day with 3 options and extras on each of those options as well. So the client's got no excuse to not sign up, because it's like, you've got everything you could want. Just tell me what you want. I'm looking forward to using the migration tool for the direct debits. I haven't done that yet. What my workflow has been that it's kind of been a bit of a prompt to reprice clients, because it's like, if I'm repricing them through Socket and I've got the direct debit turned on with Adfin, then they're automatically going to go on to Adfin. So kind of new clients and that reprice clients. So I haven't got as far as migrating the rest of my sort of client base, because I've kind of been trying to work through with some other tools as well, to kind of reprice and make sure I'm all in scope, because again, not the greatest at repricing people. So I think that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that kind of, again, the next level of the credit control piece, because not necessarily for me, but I think that then becomes a really interesting thing for clients, for the sales side for clients as well. And I think, again, I really love software where I can go, I use it, I trust it enough that I use it in my practice, and I can show you how to use it, and we can set it up, and it will be a great benefit to you in your your practice, because I think that's a really nice thing for us as bookkeepers and accountants.
Yeah, so I've gone through that. I'm all in Advin, so I've gone through that migration process, and it was pretty seamless. So Sam was freaking awesome of kind of like managing that process right the way through, and yeah, everything kind of collected. So we went full on, switched it. So I might have been a guinea pig, or I might have been an early one there, but it's been brilliant. So yeah, that's been fantastic. Is it worth us kind of talking about what is on that roadmap? Because I'm quite keen for you to get in and show us about some of the stuff, the autopilot bit, Tom, if you're up for that.
Yeah, we can talk a bit about that.
So let me just jump back to here. So in terms of kind of what's coming next, automatic invoice migration. That's a pretty cool one. Do you want to talk us through that one, Tom?
That's live. That's live. Yeah.
So
Yeah, seamless migration from any direct debit provider, pretty much, to Adfin can now be done. And we have two different sorts of migration. There's what we call mandate migration. If you migrate a mandate to Adfin, then that means the customer doesn't have to do anything. One day they're being processed by GoCardless, the next day it's been processed by Adfin. Customer doesn't have to take any action. So that's obviously pretty good, and we've had amazing response to that actually over the last couple of months. Partly because we were offering everyone some free AirPods. We're still offering the AirPods, by the way. We ended the back to school offer, so we're no longer giving out the mugs and things, but the headline AirPods. There we go. Johnny's got some. It's still there. If you switch 50 mandates to Adfin in your first 30 days of signing up, you get a pair of AirPods. So that's been working really well. We've migrated probably tens of thousands of mandates now using mandate migration. So yeah, if you've got customers on an existing provider and you're thinking, okay, well actually I'm suffering, the support's not very good, the pricing's kind of expensive, they keep introducing new hidden fees, I like the socket integration with Adfin, I want cards and other payment methods all in one place, then you're welcome, come over. So that's that mandate migration. And then we can also do invoice migration, which is if you send a mandate out using Adfin and you've already got invoicing for a customer, we can automatically switch that invoicing to us in Xero or QuickBooks. And you might say, well, why would I bother doing that if I can do the mandate migration? To be honest, you probably should just do the mandate migration. The main reasons are some people do like remandating their customers. Lara, I think you might be one of them, actually, now that I come to think of this. Or is it because we hadn't done mandate migration when you switched? I can't remember.
It was because you hadn't done mandate migration when you switched. So that was because it was the first ones of testing the socket thing. So you hadn't done mandate migration. So that's where it was. A few of the ones where I repriced obviously went on that then invoice migration journey.
Yeah. I mean, some people like remandating just because it's kind of like a way of them reaffirming a commitment with the customer, or they link it to a new price or something like that. There is a tiny potential scheme advantage, which is if you end a relationship on one mandate and then you start it on a new mandate, you might reduce your direct debit chargeback risk. It's a very murky area. It's more likely to have benefit than not, but it's not a cast in stone. So we can support that, which is really great. Splitting payments in installments is also now live. So you can use Adfin to create an installment plan. So if you've got a tricky customer on the phone, they say, hey, I don't want to pay, then you can say, no problem, let me split that into 10 installments or 3 installments, and then we'll take care of that for you.
I was going to say, or if you're using Socket for a proposal, a bit like you were showing with that Adfin migration thing, and you want to bill a percentage up front and then a percentage when it's on installments, that would be again a really good thing around project work.
Yeah, no, I think it just creates loads of opportunities as well of almost just making it even more seamless, which is great.
Yeah. And then this third one. What's the third one? We've had QuickBooks for a year.
we haven't got a QuickBooks piece, so that's really kind of like on us from a Socket perspective of how do we kind of make it as seamless an experience for a QuickBooks user as a Xero user. So yeah, it can still work. It just means that you need to create your mandates outside of Socket. So yeah, that's one for us. We've had a
useful for when we conquer the US together, Johnny. That one.
world domination. World domination. We've had a couple of questions come in. So Richard's asked a question of, do Adfin have plans to integrate with Zoho Books?
The short answer to that, honestly, Richard, is no. It's actually genuinely the first time anyone's asked for that. So let's look at it, because it might be that we can use Adfin Bridge, which is that universal software integration solution to do what you need. The reason we haven't used Adfin Bridge for things like integration with Xero or QuickBooks is because accounting software is extremely complicated, and there are lots of edge cases, and it takes an awful lot of time to build a reliable integration that can cover all the weird ways that accountants use this software. Credit notes, partial payments, refunds here, allocating balance, yeah. So we did it via API. But if what you need from Zoho Books is a bit more simple, then Adfin Bridge could do the job very nicely. So let's pick that up.
James has asked a question about his proposals are saying active and not won. So when a proposal is first won, it goes into a won state. You have to confirm the start date. Now, if that start date is then in the period, it will switch to active. So it's absolutely fine. It will say one if you've got a proposal starting in November. It will say one because it's not active yet. And then Andrew has asked the question. So for those clients that are already on a direct debit with Go Cardless, how do we get those switched over seamlessly to Adfin?
Well, that's the mandate migration. So yeah, about 98% of Adfin users have switched from Go Cardless and Stripe. That seems to be the theme.
Cool.
So we're pretty good at that now. It's a pretty well-oiled process. It takes up to 5 weeks. That's a scheme thing. But we have, Chris and the team will work with that very closely. All we ask on that is if you're migrating fewer than 50 mandates, then we do ask that you sign up to our Adfin custom pricing, which is where you get your name on the bank statement. Some people want that anyway, but if you're migrating fewer than 50, we do ask you sign up for that, which is £36 a month. But yeah, ready to go.
And it's been seamless. I've been on the receiving end of that, and it's been a fantastic experience. So yeah, thanks to you, Tom, and the team.
And I have to
thank the engineers that built it. I did genuinely nothing. So
and I think there's a point there as well about Adfin benefits on the cost element of something. I was talking to someone and setting up something on Ace Excel and around power hours and a one-off, and it's a fixed price, so it's not going through Socket, it's going to be a fixed price. And I was sat there and I was like, why the heck am I doing this via Calendly and Stripe? So I might have been building Zaps last night that went, when this happens, send an invoice in here to Xero with the Adfin on demand branding on it, don't mark it as sent. And then I was like, well, that then gets me round the whole, I don't have to pay Stripe for it because it can go into Adfin without, put it into Xero, stick it into Adfin, and I get paid and reduce all the fees on it.
Perfect. I love the creativity.
We've actually got a Zapier integration now.
Okay, I will fix that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Don't even have to do that, Matt.
Yeah, we can save you a few steps there. But yeah.
We've had a question from Vishal. In QuickBooks, would there be a pay now button that you would allow the client to pay via their bank? So,
as in on the invoice produced by QuickBooks, I guess is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So effectively, that's sort of how it works. It won't be on the actual invoice itself. It won't be like on a PDF or something like that. But what we do is we pick up that invoice in QuickBooks, we attach it to an email with a massive pay now button. Then, pay by bank can be one of those payment options. You could turn off all the other payment options and just have pay by bank if you wanted. We also offer bank transfers now, and the big advantage of our bank transfer product is, it comes through an account that we control. So the second the client pays, we'll mark it as paid in the accounting software. We will stop any chasing that's associated with it. So it's kind of much quicker process than if you're having to do all that manually.
Cool. Tom, we've got 10 minutes. Is that enough time to show us Autopilot?
Yeah. It's a quick one, but it's just we want to, in the theme of things that we're working on that people might think were cool. This is one of our big
Perfect.
growth areas
Perfect.
because, I mean, I talked about like the capture, the collect, and the control aspects of Adfin, the three pillars. That capture element working pretty nicely. We've got all the payment methods. It's on that credit control piece that we're putting a lot of effort in building out the product. And actually, I saw Lily on the call earlier, who's one of our great friends and advisors. So hi, Lily. If you're still here, there she is. Thanks for your advice. Because some of Lily, who's an expert credit controller's feedback, has made it into this product. But let me just share my screen again.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
Lily loves credit control. She absolutely loves credit control.
We really got that impression as well when we met in person. We really got that impression. Okay, so I'm going to. So this is a different demo account. This one's got a bit more stuff in it. But essentially, the use case we're trying to solve here, a couple of things. One, if you chase from your own personal email, people are a lot more likely to respond to you. So we need to support that. Two, people are doing a lot of copying and pasting in credit control. And every time we talk to a credit controller, no one turns around and says, the bit I love about my job is the bit where I'm copying and pasting a lot. We were actually, even just for Adfin, as we were building this product initially, we have someone doing Adfins. Obviously, we use Adfin to collect Adfin's money. And the person who was kind of looking after that said to us, like, one of the most painful parts of her job was the bit where she was following up on all the direct debits that had failed and sending people emails saying, "Oi, why is your direct debit failed? Do you want to make a payment using an alternative payment method?" And we thought, hang on, this is crazy. So what we've built, I've got that stupid annotate button. Oh, okay, there we go. I managed to move it. Okay, so what you can do is you can set up what we call message templates. And these message templates are very, very flexible. So you can basically dump in anything. So let's say Lara has 10 standard emails that she always sends to her payers, right? Maybe email number 6 in that sequence is a grumpy email. So I'm going to call it grumpy email 6, right? Or something in the, and it might say something like, "Hi, Johnny, you are a great customer, but you really must pay
I knew there was going to be a but there.
for invoice number, blah, 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 and amount, blah, 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 blah. This has now been overdue for 56 days. Here is a payment link." So you'll notice I'm just writing relative nonsense in here in my grumpy email template. So I've written my grumpy email template and I'm going to publish that. Now, let's say I'm on the phone with a client or I'm doing my credit control in Adfin and I where's my payments, and I'm looking at my at-risk payments in Adfin and I'm seeing, well, I've got some here that I'm particularly grumpy about. So what have we got? This is a particularly nasty one. So it's 10p owned by this PayPal man. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, "Oh my God, I've looked at all this stuff that's happened since March. We've sent them out invoices. We've been sending them overdue notices. The due date's passed. I'm going to send them a message." So I click send message and I'm going to use my grumpy email 6 template. So I hit grumpy email 6. What happens now is the essentially AI in the background takes that template and adapts it to the context. So it knows it's actually going to PayPal man, not Johnny. It's keeping my text. We've instructed it. Even if you write things that are a bit weird, we're not going to change that. We're just going to change the things we can change. So it's going to accurately put in the correct invoice number, the correct amount, correct number of days overdue. It's going to attach a correct payment link so they can pay. Remember, I just put XXX. I can edit this. I can add CCs. I can do all the things I need to do, and I can send that out. And then that customer's going to get that email. But what that's done, it's saved a ton of time, right? In copying and pasting their name, their email address, the invoice number, the invoice amount, attaching the PDF. You can do this at the customer level. So if you've got a customer with multiple outstanding invoices, you can do exactly the same thing. You can go and send a message, use grumpy email 6. I actually don't know what the context is of this one, but it will, if there's multiple invoices, it will tell you, "Hey, you owe us for multiple invoices. Here's the total amount." So it's really, here we go. So here's an example. It's found that there's multiple invoices, and it's included its payment links. So it's just saving tons of time in that. And the next thing that we're planning, and this, by the way, comes from your email address, not from us. And the next thing then that we're planning to build to this, that we're really excited about, is integrating it into the existing admin workflows. So at the moment, this is triggered manually, but in the next couple of weeks, you're going to be able to build it into a workflow so that maybe first thing that happens is an official admin email saying, "Hey, Lara, you owe us some money." Maybe then there's a second admin email, but then maybe the third admin email is a nice email from Lara saying, "Hey, just want to check that you got this okay. Thanks so much." Customer will have no idea it's an automated email. It comes from your email address. If they reply, it goes to you, but it just saves you a lot of time in managing all this stuff.
And I was going to say that's a good example, Tom, the one you've picked as well, because that they don't actually have any overdue invoices. So it's actually changed the context to "you're a great customer. Here's your upcoming invoices." So you don't have that thing of why are you telling me that I've got overdue invoices and then telling me that they're new, which again can happen if you're doing a batch of stuff and you click the wrong one to send it to, and they owe you money, but it's not just overdue. It stops you looking a bit stupid saying something that actually you shouldn't.
You know what?
Whereas
You're right, Lara.
that
I
has mended it.
inadvertently did an even better demo than I was intending because it has done exactly that, right? Like it has realized that this customer doesn't have overdue invoices and therefore has adapted the content intelligently.
We've had
The
one more
machines
question
are
come in.
coming. It's crazy.
That's magic, I think, Tom. We've had another question come in, and it's: is there an admin feature to notify clients of a bank account change? So I guess this is if I'm not quite sure of the answer, but if a client wanted to change their bank account where the direct debit was getting collected from, is that easy for them to do, or is that a reissue of a mandate?
It is a reissue of a mandate. Unfortunately, yeah, because you need to give the authority again for the new account. Like a direct debit mandate is essentially you signing on behalf of your underlying bank account. So, um, yeah, we don't have a really smooth feature for this. Like the process would still be that they would email you, say, "Hey, I want to change my bank account," and then you would need to send them a new mandate to sign. It's very easy to do that. So, what you would do, what the hell's you go to that customer. Let's see if Johnny Smith's got a mandate. No, let's find one that does have a mandate.
And as from my bank account perspective, so if I wanted the funds to be paid into a different bank account, is that possible?
Yep,
Cool.
yep, yep. That's fine. So this customer here, I've got a mandate in place with them. What I can always do is cancel that mandate in, and then send them a new mandate.
Cool.
So it's kind of 2 clicks. Yeah, here's a new form for your new bank details. So it's a
Awesome.
couple of clicks, but there isn't kind of a customer self-service option on that. But maybe we should build that. Good idea.
Perfect. Perfect. And what about using card details for recurring payments?
Coming as well. Yeah, we haven't had tons of demand for that actually. It comes up every now and again. Because direct debit works so well. But one of the reasons we called it auto collect and not direct debit was because we were planning to have sort of recurring card on file as a
Yeah.
backup option for auto collect. It's always going to be more expensive than direct debit to do that on card. Because card fees rise linearly with the amount, whereas direct
Yeah.
debit it kind of tails off. So, but we do plan to do that so that yeah,
Cool.
you can collect the direct debit mandate, enter your card details, so the direct debit bills automatically take the payment from the card on file that you have.
Nice. Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Well, that's been awesome. I'm literally going to share my screen just because if anyone wants to find out more about either Socket or Advin, here's where you can kind of go to sign up. But yeah, uh, if you're kind of interested, then reach out to us either at usocket.com or advin.com. I think we have answered all of the questions, so there's no other burning questions. I think we'll call it a day there. Lara, thank you very much as always for your time. Can't thank you enough.
Yeah,
And
such a hero. Lara's the dream customer as a software vendor to have. The dream.
Thank you very much. Then. So I have to say, as I say, I love working with any software that's got any software founders that are as lovely as you and also are up for feedback, whatever that might be. So thank you for taking all the little bits on board and incorporating them into two products that I very much enjoy using.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you both. And thank you for everyone to taking a bit of time out on their Thursday. And catch you all soon. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Lara.